All right, welcome back to the Atlanta Child Murders Revisited. It is 11 March. Um, this is video number 29, and I'm just going to call this Maple Street Madness. Okay, because, I get a bug in my head or an itch in my butt, and it keeps going. It keeps itching me and scratching me and making me, what if this? And let's check out that. And so I dig and I dig and I dig, and it's just crazy the crap that I found out. It just absolutely cannot be fucking coincidence. Okay? So let's just recap. Okay? I've got a bunch of tabs here of various things. And so this is the Garland Law Building, built in 1970 to 72. Okay? Because Ed Garland was with Kadosh and Garland and Seacold or whatever the hell that was downtown until about 1972. And then they moved to this building right here, 3151 Maple Drive, Atlanta, Georgia 30305 in Buckhead. And let me just remind you, okay, let's just kind of pop out here. So, well, we'll do this. Geography is everything, okay? People that are protecting each other like to have their businesses and their offices close to each other. It gives them a feeling of security. And also, they can walk over or go to lunch or do whatever they do. So, this is 313 Maple, where Garland's office is. Two doors down is Patricia McLean, interior decorating. Okay? Former girlfriend of Michael Thevis. She was 18 in 1972 when they met, or maybe it was 70, 71, 72. And she's only 18. Yeah, I think it was 1970, 71 or so. She was either a dance instructor or worked in a coffee shop. I'm not exactly sure. But Michael Davis liked her so much he made it his girlfriend, along with my mother. He also liked her so much that when he incorporated his pornography business, he incorporated a company called Profile Films. Let's see. Yeah. And he incorporated at this address here at this house, Profile and Modern Films, back in 1972. And included in the incorporations was Michael Thevis and Patricia McLean, 18, 19, 20 years old. She's the CEO of Profile Films. Okay? Profile Films would eventually, well, actually, back at that time in 72, its listed address was here, and then they had another address at 881 Memorial. You know, the one I tell you that's where they kept all the pornography. So you want to keep your drugs and your pornography as far away from you and your legitimate office as possible. So that's why they put it at 881 Memorial. That's where eventually, I believe Wayne was bringing the kids to be in child porn. And this goes along with what the rumors that I heard when I was in junior high in 78, okay, 79, when Thieves was in jail, that kids would torture other kids by saying, because I'd hear the other kids, oh, you better shut up, or my dad's gonna, or somebody may kidnap you and put you in a child porn in Cabbagetown. Now, if I had been a little bit more up on it, I would have tried to figure out who that kid is and who their parents are, because it's obvious that kid heard that information at the dinner table when he walked past a room and his dad was on the phone or having a meeting with somebody. And it it's my impression, if I remember correctly, that that kid's dad was a cop. If I, you know, can go remember all the way far that back, because I'm sitting on the bus, I'm just talking with my friends, and then this other kid is like torturing this other kid and says, "Oh, you better be careful what you say, or somebody may come along and kidnap you and put you in a child porn in Cabbagetown." And I wasn't the only one that heard that. There were other people that would mention that. I heard it also on the Atlanta Monster, where someone called in and said that she rode the bus, okay, from what was that area? Um, that had 5 stars. It was kind of 5-star intersection in DeKalb County to her school. When she got rode to school, they kind of went close to Cabbagetown, and that the rumor there were 2 kids on her bus that were involved in child pornography there, or mentioned it. So we have that, and then we're just going to go street by street here, okay? And then if we go up, all these shops right here, there's a Greek store, a Greek restaurant, and a Greek shop, and they're all relatives or were owned by or started by former relatives of Michael Thieves. He had all this money, so he invested it as a silent investor in all these restaurants and businesses. And he brought a lot of his relatives, Greek relatives, down from North Carolina. Okay. Now, also located, I think the incorporation was right there, an address 242 on Far Road. I'm going to come across this in a second. Was the headquarters corporations is listed on the incorporation papers for Gelco Rent-A-Car, okay, where my mom would end up working right here. But for some reason, the incorporation address listed this right here. And over here at 3057 Far Court, in this building, okay, would be the incorporation address for, it was a real estate company for Maurice Gayton and his brother, Mr. Gayton, that owned the Limelight. Okay. They would list this as an address in the incorporation papers, but they also would list this, and their um, attorney, I believe his name was A.J. Block, would list that address also, the 3057 Far Road, Far Court, or whatever. Now, here on Buckhead is another address related to Thieves for the Sound Pit. Okay, eventually it would end up being down there, um, right across from the Coca Cola World, off Simpson, where my mom would end up working 72 to 74. And then from 76 to 81, that's where Wayne Williams would bring the kids and have them audition. So let's see. Now, I think there's also another one. Yeah, Buckhead Road, East Paces Ferry Road, and we'll just kind of start here and work our way this way. So this Trader Joe's right here, right across from this church. There's a back door here. You see how the parking lot is back here. And that was built that way on purpose because this was the Gold Club, a Gambino owned strip club. Okay. And eventually it got shut down. The federal government came in because it was a front for prostitution and drugs. And guess who the attorney was for the Gold Club against the federal cases? None other than Ed Garland and his brother, Don Garland, on the paperwork. We're going to come across that. And right, literally, the fence line is right here of the parking lot where they would, have the drugs and everything. And literally, this building right here, okay, on Shadow Lawn, okay, you see, there's a little fence right here. Matter of fact, I'll show you how close it is. Watch this magic. It's really, really crazy because I used to go right over here. They used to have an Applebee's, like I think it was right there. Back in the '80s, I used to go there for lunch with all those gay guys from the when I worked at USF&G. Now, yeah, right here. This will show you how close it is. This building, this here, was the Shadow Lawn Studio where Wayne Williams would bring the kids to audition. And literally, it is a fence away, right there, from the parking lot of the Gold Club's entrance. You see? It's literally right there. So, I don't know. What do you think? You think Wayne would bring kids there and do his little fake audition and then say, hey, you can make a little extra $20. Go over here in this parking lot here, and there's some guys that'll, in their car, give you $20 for, whatever. It's just a quick way to make money until we make it big, as the next Jackson 5. I mean, literally, they're right next to each other, folks. Okay? And they're both under the auspices of Ed Garland. Okay? And matter of fact, the owner of this studio. Okay? Oh, looks like it's flipped. Hold on one second. The owner of this studio was neighbors with Patricia McLean. They lived like literally right around the corner from each other, up in Ackworth, Marietta, or something like that. But that was the studio right there, right near there. Now, I don't know if this was this an Aldi's now or PetSmart. I don't know if this existed. It says Aldi's for the parking lot or PetSmart here. Maybe it's Aldi's and then PetSmart. I don't know if this existed at the time, but you can literally, from Ed Garland's office right there, if you go out to his parking lot, to the parking lot, walk past the Aldi's, you're right there. Or vice versa. If, Wayne Williams needs to go get some legal advice, all he has to do is walk across the parking lot and he's at Ed Garland's right there. All right, we'll keep going. And literally, right there is the Atlanta Police Department Zone Number 2 office. Okay? It's a field office. It's right around the corner from where Wayne was bringing the kids, just like at the Sound Pit studio, was 2 blocks away from where the task force. So Wayne would bring the kids to the Sound Pit studio, diddle them in the hot tub, do some recordings, whatever, and then take them back and kill them at his house. And literally 2 blocks away was the headquarters of the Atlanta Child Murders Task Force that was looking for him 2 to 3 blocks away. They could literally go out their side door onto Simpson, look down Simpson 2 to 3 blocks, and sometimes see Wayne bringing kids into the studio. Same thing here. I mean, you could literally drive out around the corner and see Wayne right there. Okay? And let's not forget also right across the street, okay, and I think it's this building or it's that building. One of these two buildings, maybe it's probably this building right next to the um, massage spa location. This is the Fulton County headquarters of the Republican Party today. I don't know if it was back then, but there it is right there, folks. Okay? All right. And let me see here. And let's see. So this is Ed Garland's. And you see how this street right here goes through? I think this is a car place. Yeah. Okay. So that's Ed Garland's office. Oh, let me just do this real quick. Right. Okay. So you see this building right here. That was the head. Before it was just a parking lot right here. All this was just one big parking lot. There was a chain, you know, some stakes and a chain that kind of went around. They had a bunch of cars there, and they had a big trailer. I think it was a double wide trailer right here, and they had another double wide trailer right here. In this one was the headquarters for Jelco Rent a Car for all of Atlanta. And this one was the rental office for Jelco in all of Atlanta, or excuse me, in Buckhead. And my mom, because she was a go getter, she did really well done at the Hilton in Atlanta Airport, 79, 80, and then about 81 they moved her up here. So 81, 82, some of 83, she was right here. Now she would go off to these other locations. I think they had one at Charlie Brown Airport and in Marietta and then the Atlanta Airport. But this is the main one that she worked at. And I know this because I know at least 80 after I quit my Dipper Dan's job when Wayne Williams came in, and 81 and probably 82 and 83, I would come up here on Saturdays. My mom, everybody would, especially the FBI or the cops, the Atlanta police, they would rent cars from her. Because, literally, the precinct is right down Maple Street, folks. Okay? So the police would rent cars from her. And then they drop them off on Fridays. I guess the police don't work weekends. No. But all I know is that every Friday, they would drop off all their cars they rented for the week. Okay? And then my mom would say, hey, um, because she didn't want her maintenance guy to be overwhelmed on Monday morning and to have some cars ready. Okay. So she'd say to me, "Hey, you want to make 20, 30 bucks?" And I was like, "No, no, I don't want to go to the Gold's Club in the back parking lot." Boom, boom. That's a bad joke, folks. Anyway, so no, my mom would say, "You want to make 20, like my dad say, you want to do it the hard way or the easy way? Okay. You want to make 20 bucks the easy way?" And I'd say, "Yeah, sure." She goes, "Okay, here, you go with me, go take a bath, brush your teeth, and put on some clean clothes this time. And you can call your friends and tell them that you'll meet them up at Lennox at noon." Okay. And I'm like, "Linux, cool. Well, how am I going to make money?" He goes, "Well, you're going to come up with me to where I work and wash cars for about 4 hours. $4 an hour, $5 an hour, whatever it was back then. And I get 20 bucks. Wow. 20 bucks. You know? So I wash cars from 8 o'clock to 12. Sometimes it's really fucking cold during the winter. And then I would walk down here, walk across the street, catch the bus, and go up to Linux. And then I'd walk into Linux. I'd go to the cookie company and get me the best damn sugary cookie. I still got, sugar from that fucking cookie from 1981 in my fat, in my gut. And then I go down and I go to Rocco's Pizza. They had a original Rocco's Pizza down off of Piedmont and Lenox Road, but they put a little satellite location in Lenox Square at the back end of Lenox Square on the food court. Rocco's Pizza, best fucking pizza ever. They had, I get mushroom and ground beef pizza, very very good. Then I go play some video games, and then my friends would show up, and then we'd go up to the Sword of the Phoenix, look at the latest Dungeons and Dragons shit because we were a bunch of D&D nerds that didn't have any girlfriends. And then maybe we go to a movie, and that'd be my 20 bucks right there. And then my mom would show up and she'd give us a ride home, about 4 or 5 or something like that. And that was my day. And also, I think I told this before, the headquarters building is right here, and inside this building was a 19, 20-year-old blonde. Okay? I'm not going to give her a name, but good looking girl. My brother, who failed out of college, um, he came back the summer of 81, I believe, and he would have been 20. She was 18, 19, he was 20. And she was working there, and eventually he started working with my mom for a couple months until he got a job with my dad with the courier service. Okay? And then he got fired for whatever he was doing wrong there. But before he got fired, he met this girl, blonde girl, good looking blonde girl. Asked her out. They went on a date. I mean, no more than a year later, I come home. It's like 82. My mom throws my shoes at me and dress pants and says, "Get your clothes on." Throws a tie down. "Get your clothes on. Your brother's getting married." I'm like, "What?" So we ran up to Cobb County, to the Marietta Cobb County Courthouse. There's my brother out front of the courthouse with the judge, with this girl getting married. And so basically, it was like this: she worked there, but her parents were going to move to Connecticut. And then he was thinking about going into the military because he hadn't started working with my dad yet. He was going to go in the Navy, I think, and work on Trident submarines, he told me. So, girls, you know, they don't mind marrying a Navy guy. They don't mind being with a Navy guy, but he's going to take off like that. You better marry him. You can't be getting, what do they say? You can't be getting the milk for free. You got to marry the cow. Okay. So that's what she told him. That was her proposal. Either you marry me or I'm going back with my parents to Connecticut. And he's like, okay. And so that's how they got married. And God, they've been married ever since then. 1982, they've been married. What is that? 44 years they've been married. Wow, good for him. Good for her because, well, she's a saint. You know, there's like Mother Teresa and there's Mother Mary, and then there's Mother, my sister-in-law. Because my brother is a total dick, sexist, racist asshole. Okay, it, there's just no getting around it. So I don't know. I don't know what she sees in him. You know, it's not like he's rich or anything. But they've been married for 44 years, and she's still with him. You know, I guess they're like, well, fuck, you know, too damn old to get divorced. But anyway, that's where they met right there. And then, of course, back, you know, in the 80s, I'm going too long with this, sorry. I want to get to my Maple Street shit. But right over here was the Limelight, okay? And that was that notorious club by Gayton. And, you know, Gayton went on and started another Limelight up in, it was like right here, up in New York. He got busted because he was dealing drugs. The Gambinos came in and, you know, hey, look, we'll back your club. You got to, you know, let us sell drugs and prostitution out of your club. And he did. And also, you know, we need the skim from the door. And he did for a while. And then he started, well, I don't have to give them as much, you know. He started skimming from the mob, cheating the mob. Really stupid. And so they had contacts in the police, and they told, hey, you know, this guy's selling drugs out of his club, and he got busted in the '90s and went to jail. So it's all fucking connected. They all know each other, okay? And let me see here. It's really slowing down here. Wow, I really need to get to more of these tabs. But right, let's see. Sorry about this. All right. So right, God, yeah. There's the law office again of Ed Garland, and right, is it right here? All right, let's take a look. Is confidential is the Buckhead headquarters for confidential security. Okay, so again, my mom is following Thieves and Garland all over the place. What I'm finding now, I never thought about these things when I was a little, you know, a teenager. But looking at it, it's pretty damn clear. My mom was still in contact with Ed Garland. It had to be, okay, because she ends up working for confidential security. Confidential security at the Omni International, its headquarters is right here, literally right behind where Ed Garland's law office is located. The head of confidential security, okay, was good buddies with Ed Garland. Okay, confidential security started um, the same, yeah, right here. Confidential security started the same year. Okay, it was not incorporated, but the business started the same year. Okay, that Ed Garland built his office right there. Now, where is it at? Okay, three. Hold on one second. And if you look at this address, gosh, where is this? I found it yesterday. Okay, Ed Garland's office is right there. Okay, no, it's down this way. Better keep track of my time here. There it is, right there. That, okay, that is the office, if I can get it to clear up, of confidential security. Building, you wouldn't have any idea anybody was even there. They park their cars around the back for their security patrols. They probably don't even use this front entrance here. Okay? You see that? Confident, it's very confidential. Guess what, folks? Their name is not only are they confidential security, but when you look up confidential security, it's Atlanta Government Security Agency. So they're doing work, they're doing security for government buildings. Okay? I got it right here. I just think that's pretty crazy. But this location right here is where my mom worked. Okay? She got her paycheck out of this building. Although they probably just had some accountant, you know, someplace else to do the paycheck. But this is where she would go to get equipment and other stuff. Although they had an office at the Omni International that they worked at. When she worked at the Omni International, okay, this is who she worked for. When she worked at concerts at the Omni, this is who she worked for. When she went to UGA on the weekends and worked security at a football game, this is who she worked for. Okay, you can see this building. You see that's built probably around 1972, the same year that Ed Garland's building is right across the street. Now, that's just crazy. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty damn certain my mom was still in contact with, if not Ed Garland, at least somebody who was in contact with him. Thus, still in contact with Michael Thebus. Okay, and did I show you on the map again? I'll just make it really clear again. Okay, if I can get out of this one. How much time are we looking at here? 34. Okay. We're going to be on this topic for a couple of videos because I got a lot of shit. I'm still working through trying to figure out. All right. So that right there, you see, and then you see right there, the Havana nightclub. The security office is right next door to another strip club, folks. Okay? There's Ed Garland's office. Right there is the Atlanta Police Annex. Okay? The Republican Party, they all share the same backlot, folks. I mean, come on. They're one big happy family. And another thing, I just, you know, I wonder when my mom would come over here, she could literally see her rival or former rivals, Patricia McLean's business right there. They were right down the street from each other. My mom worked here. She was girlfriend to Michael Davis. There's Patricia McLean. She was girlfriend of Michael Davis. Right here is Ed Garland's office. Oh, I'm sorry, it's right here. Right here is Ed Garland's office. Okay. There's a security company my mom worked. You see? Here's the back. See, there's a back lot right here. I'm sure this is all fenced off. So now let's get into this, okay? So I don't know why I started thinking of this, but I'm like, well, I know we already found this 3151 Maple Street real estate office that definitely was a money laundering real estate scam. To how many more Maple Streets do we have? Oh my God. It's just incredible how many more there are. East Maple Street, 111 East Maple Street. I don't think this one is connected. 2015, but watch closely, folks. Watch closely. Okay. All right. So here's the premise that Ed Garland is a mob pornography drug dealer lawyer. He's your go to guy in Atlanta. You get in trouble, you go to Ed Garland. You call Ed Garland. He'll come get you out of jail. Okay? You get busted with some guns or hauling some dope. You call Ed Garland. He'll get your ass out of jail. You got a $10 million that you need to launder. Ed Garland's your man. Okay? He's going to set you up with a dummy corporation out of the Cayman Islands as his silent partner that's going to take your $10 million, although it's probably going to divide it up into a couple of different LLCs. And you're going to be a silent partner with him in a real estate money laundering scheme set up on Maple Street, 1302 Maple Street, folks. This is a brand new one here. Now, I don't know if this one's related, but I love that. Any legal purpose. But it's just amazing how many Maples, Maple Street, Maple Avenue, Maple Roads that I have found. And you're going to be really surprised how many of these Maples are right addresses right near Ed Garland's office with addresses that don't exist. Here's another one. I don't think this one is related. See, another real estate building. But this is out in Rootville, which is Carroll County. Okay? 1614 Maple Street. Here's another one. Other activities related to real estate. 180 Maple Street, LLC. Cassius Coleman. Set up in 2020. I'm going to keep this one. Okay? They're almost all real estate related. Here's another one, 225 Maple View Avenue, 3324 Peachtree Road. Okay? Peachtree Road. And that is just past Lenox there. When you get over into Cobb County, it changes from street to road. Gonna keep going. Here's another one, 3023 Maple Drive. set up in 2024. Angela Brothers. This is in Buckhead, right here. Hold on one second. Let's find out where this one. Now remember, Ed Garland's office is 3151, but I think it's Maple Street. Okay, so let's figure out how close he is to this one. Oh, nope. Maple Drive, right there, folks. Okay. See, when I dig, I fucking dig. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I know something is going on. Okay. And again, like I said, the Atlanta child murders was part of this. But I think that was just a little bump in the road of an incredibly large drug laundering, money laundering, child trafficking, child prostitution, prostitution. I mean, everywhere the mob can stick its little dirty little fingers, that's where it's at. 3023, right here, folks. Right there. So let's map where all these are located. Okay? And again, how does someone use an address to put on a official government document? You either have to have an ID, okay, or some kind of incorporation papers with that address, or um, a utility bill, a rental agreement, a leasing agreement, something like that. Okay? All right. Here we are again. 3097 Maple. That's going to be a little bit further down. I'm going to do some more checking on this, and I'm going to go into the actual paperwork. All right. And see who's on the incorporation papers, and I guarantee you we'll have Ed Garland in there. So right down here, folks. All right. Now, these could just all be innocuous, right? Could just be some kind of real estate, right? Chilavias Estate, LLC, 3127 Maple Drive. That one right there. That one right there is Ed Garland's. Oh, no. Right there. Right across from the police station, right in the same building of the Republican Party, is another money laundering real estate office. Right across from the police, right in the same building as the Fulton County Republican Party. They're everywhere, folks. You ever wonder why real estate is so fucking much? It's not because that's the cost of the building material, the property taxes, I don't know, the maintenance, the utilities, whatever, the water, and maybe a little bit for management. It's not because of that. Real estate has gone up so much because the mob drug dealers are, Russian oligarchs are using it to launder money, folks. That's just the way it is. You go around, okay, you go around Atlanta during the day, okay, especially these office parks, and you go around and you look at how many empty fucking office buildings they have, okay? How many, half of the fucking buildings, the offices will be empty. They're writing that off as a tax write off because they can list it. Oh, I could have rented that one for $10,000. So let's write that off. That lowers their taxes to nothing. And then you can also launder money through that as a silent investor in there and say you lost money. And then you cash out your money as a partner. Boom, you've got instant green cash after a year or so. And you use these lawyers because they know all the real estate scams to get away with it. Okay? So that's what's going on, folks. There's another one. You see this? 1991, 3131 Maple Drive Partners. John Hill. Let's find out. Okay, first let's map this one. It's literally right next door to Michael Davis again. What was the other one? 3127, 3121. Okay, it's literally the same fucking building. That building, if you go there, is a Mexican restaurant, folks. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry. No, the Mexican restaurant's right there. It's in the same building. Well, let's double check. Can't find. Hold on 1 second. So let's zoom in again. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's the building next door. So, I mean, literally, think of this. You got Ed Garland, okay, and he's got his drug dealer, mafia, oligarch, whoever in his office right here. And they go, okay, so what do you want the name of your corporation to be? Well, I don't know, just as long as it doesn't have my name. And Ed Garland goes out, he walks down the street, and he goes, oh, okay, the address here is 3127 or 3131. And the address here is 3127. Okay, we'll make a corporation here, we'll make a corporation there. And if you do it like in 1991 here, in 2001 there, and, up here 2020, nobody's going to make the fucking connection, okay? Because that business, let's see, that business stay in business? No, it only stayed in business for 18 years. It was dissolved. So no one's going to make the connection, okay? All right. Wait, let me check something I forgot on the other one here. I'm going to do this on all of them, but I want to check right here because this is an old one. Older one, I should say. How much time do I have? Okay, 10 minutes. So what they did is about 2000, they streamlined the incorporation papers. And that means it has a lot less information. I don't know who paid who to pass that kind of legislation, but it really helps because people were getting busted from their names being on all the paperwork. So now they have a lot less names and addresses on the paperwork. I mean, let me just be real clear, folks. You got a criminal defense lawyer who only defends mafia characters, mainly the Gambino family, murderers, drug dealers, and pornography kings. Okay. Oh, and then this poverty-stricken black serial killer. So you got all these big guys with lots of money, and then he's doing his charity. Okay, with with Wayne Williams, and then so you got that guy. Okay, and his minimum, if you come to him and you want to retain him, his minimum is 50,000, 30,000 down, 20,000 during the trial. That's starting off to defend you. He's almost out of reach of everyone. Okay, 50,000 just to get started. Okay, and so that basically means that I'm not out. I'm not for hire to the general public. Okay, and so you got that guy doing that, and Ed Garland's not going to come to trial and defend you. He's going to send one of his younger junior partners to handle your. He'll take your money, but he's not going to defend you personally. And then along with that, on one hand, you've got Ed Garland setting up all these real estate money laundering schemes. And we're just finding the ones on Maple Street. God knows ABC real estate, um, you know, dog pile real estate investment company, Southern investment. Who knows? You can make it under any goddamn name. Okay. Oh, you need to launder $10 million. This is how you do it. Of course, he's going to get his fee. Okay. And that's on one hand. And then on the other hand, you've got him as the registered agent or a secretary for at least three fucking airlines since the 1970s. Now, when does a lawyer own his own fucking airline? Do you know many lawyers that have their own goddamn airline with just two planes that flies just back and forth from Atlanta to Miami or Atlanta to Jacksonville or Atlanta to Savannah? That's their only routes. Twice a week. Come on, folks. I mean, surely the FBI or the DEA can figure this shit out, right? But I guess it's like, Denzel Washington says, there's knowing and then there's proving. You can know all you want, but proving it is another kettle of fish there. All right. Let's keep going here. I just downloaded this. Ah, there it is. Is this going to come up? I don't know. Very, very slow. Well, that's going. We're going to go into another one here. And you can do this too, folks. I'm not a absolute freaking genius. Okay, you all you got to do is just go look this shit up yourself. It's right there. Just enter Maple, okay, and look through the list. There it is, 3131 Maple Drive. Did they come back again? Yeah. Oh, nope, that's the same one. Sorry. Let's see, here it is again. 3151 Maple Drive, right there. 1998. At least he put his name on this one, right? Let's see, did our picture ever come up? Yeah, there it is. You see how small? It's just one page now. God, I can't get it to blow up. Yeah, there we go. Zoom. All right. And who do we have? That guy. Come on. I can't get it to go up. What the hell? John E. Hill. Robert Mathis. I wonder if he's related to the Mathis boy that was killed. General partner. 3131. That's it right there. Okay. 3179. Okay. Ah. Ah. Oh, lightning strikes again, folks. Hirsch Friedman, 1977, 3179. Do you know who Hirsch Friedman is? In case you missed my video, Hirsch Friedman was a Gambino attorney. Okay? He was like Ed Garland. He was the go-to guy for the Gambinos. You get in trouble, you get arrested, whatever, you get busted with the drugs or the guns, you either call Ed Garland or you call Hirsch Friedman. Now, Hirsch Friedman specifically was hired by the Gambinos exclusively to work the Gold Club, okay, and other clubs that the Gambinos owned, and porn theaters, shops, stuff like that, in the Atlanta area. Okay. Um, the way he tells it is he got a conscience because there was a guy named Coppola who was, you know, a corporation will send a headquarters manager to run a field office. Okay, so the Gambinos, they sent this guy named Coppola, that was his name, to Atlanta. He mostly hung out at the Gold Club. Remember the Gold Club I was just showing you, right behind, or the strip club right with the parking lot where Wayne Williams would bring all the kids. Well, hold on a second. Ah, shit, I'm almost out of time. So I'll just make this real quick. Hirsch Friedman was a Gambino attorney. He started working for the FBI, wore a wire, got Coppola in trouble and arrested. Coppola sent out a hit team. They put a bomb in his car and blew him up when he was running for Fulton County Solicitor against, in 1982, against, guess who? Mary Welcome. And when he got blown up, Mary Welcome became the the Fulton County Solicitor. Again. Okay. But anyway, that's enough of that. I'm going to do another video here because this is fucking incredible. Another real estate scam, another real estate money laundering thing by the Gambino's own lawyer, Hirsch Friedman. Wow. It doesn't get any fucking better than this, folks. All right, see you later.